The morning mist was still curling off Whispering Pines Lake like a bad hangover when those red and blue lights painted my grandfather's old cabin like a crime scene. "Sir, you're trespassing on private property," the deputy started to say, until I slid my deed across the hood of his cruiser and watched Lydia Voss's plastic smile freeze, solid on her mansion deck across the water. 3 years ago, I thought I'd finally found the quiet life after 20 years hauling Army logistics across sandboxes and a divorce that felt like friendly fire. Grandpa's 1970s A-frame on 1.5 acres of Sierra Nevada foothills was nothing fancy, just weathered cedar, a sagging dock, and an aluminum fishing boat older than most of the HOA members. Every dawn I'd step outside, breathe air that tasted like pine and freedom, and cast a line into water so clear you could see yesterday's regrets. The community of 48 homes around the lake used to run on one simple rule: wave at your neighbor, help when the power goes out, and mind your own damn business the rest of the time. Then Hurricane Lydia made landfall. She rolled up in a leased Range Rover, wearing white capris and enough perfume to gas a small platoon, bought the $1.2 million glass and steel monstrosity that looked like a Miami condo had crash-landed in the Pines. Within a week, she'd christened herself president of the newly formed Whispering Pines Homeowners Association. 12 signatures out of 48, printed letterhead, the whole circus. "We're just protecting property values," she cooed at the first welcome pontoon parade, eyes colder than a tax audit. The morning everything went sideways, I was sipping coffee on my dock, boots up, watching loons dive, when her overpowered pontoon sliced the silence like a chainsaw. "Yoo-hoo! Mr. Brooks," she called, plastic smile gleaming. "I'm here on official HOA business. Your setup violates our new aesthetic standards. That rusty boat and all the fishing gear, it's lowering everyone's resale value." I set my mug down so hard the dock planks rattled. "Lady, this dock has been in my family since before you discovered Spanx. There's no HOA covenant on my deed." Her smile cracked. "We'll see about that, soldier boy." 3 days later, a certified envelope was duct-taped to my screen door like a parking ticket from hell. $750 fine for failure to maintain community aesthetics. 30 days to comply or face liens. The paper looked official, seals, case numbers, legalese thick enough to choke a lawyer. Most folks would have panicked and paid. I'd spent 2 decades in logistics. Paperwork was my love language. So I drove to the county recorder's office in Truckee, where the clerk, a no-nonsense grandma named Dolores, slid my file across the counter with a wink. "Another victim of the Voss tornado, huh? She's been in here 6 times this month, sniffing around enforcement powers. Honey, your deed is clean, no covenants, no restrictions, nothing." While I was there, I ran a quick title search on her glass palace. Turns out the owner was a property trust, North Sierra Legacy Trust. And guess who held 62% controlling interest since Grandpa updated his estate in 2019? Yours truly. Lydia Voss had been paying rent to a management company that funneled every dime straight into an account I never checked because I thought it was some random inheritance. She'd been terrorizing her own landlord for months, while turning half the neighborhood into unlicensed short-term rentals for Bay Area tech bros. I started a private group chat, Pines Truth Squad, and the floodgates opened. Retired teachers, young families, even the 87-year-old fly fisherman who'd lived here since Nixon, all had their own Lydia horror stories. $500 fines for unauthorized bird feeders, midnight texts demanding mailbox color changes, threats of lawsuits over Christmas lights that stayed up 3 days too long. We started documenting everything. Lydia smelled blood in the water and escalated like a true professional. One Tuesday at 6:30 a.m., 2 sheriff's deputies rolled up, lights flashing. "Mr. Brooks, we've had a report you're trespassing on private property and making threats." I invited them in for coffee that didn't taste like regret, then handed over the folder. Security footage of me simply fishing on my own dock, time-stamped county records proving the dock was mine, statements from 3 neighbors confirming Lydia's pattern of false reports. The older deputy just sighed. "This is the 27th complaint from that address this year. We're starting to keep a file." That afternoon, my aluminum boat was found half-sunk at the dock, drain plug mysteriously removed. $3,200 in damage. But my new cameras caught our handyman in 4K, muttering "crazy lady's gonna get me fired" while he worked. Game over. The real fireworks happened at the emergency community standards meeting she called in her great room. Beige leather sofas, gold chandeliers, PowerPoint titled Protecting Our Investment, with photos of every violator who'd refused to join her club. Only 7 people showed. The rest of us sat in the back row like an audience at a bad improv show. When she demanded a vote to fine me another $2,000, I stood up, calm as a Sunday morning. "Before we vote," I said, sliding the trust documents onto her mahogany coffee table, "you might want to read your own lease agreement. The one you signed 3 years ago with North Sierra Legacy Trust." Her face went the color of spoiled milk. Section 7.2, Peaceful Enjoyment of Neighboring Properties. Section 9.4, Prohibition of Unlicensed Commercial Activity. Section 12.1, Maintenance of Community Harmony. You've violated 14 clauses. Mrs. Voss. Plus the little matter of 2 months back rent and the bribery attempts on county code enforcement officers, caught on body cam, by the way. The room went dead silent except for one neighbor who whispered, "Holy shit." Lydia tried the usual script. "This is harassment. I have connections." But the sheriff's deputy, who'd been quietly standing by the door, stepped forward. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for filing false police reports, criminal mischief, and 2 counts of attempted bribery of public officials." Handcuffs clicked. The woman who'd spent months quoting "rules are rules" was now being escorted out of her own mansion in those same white capris, mascara running like cheap ink. 30 days later the U-Haul pulled away from the glass palace, leaving behind unpaid bills, a stack of cease and desist letters, and one very empty wine fridge. The county zoning board shut down every illegal rental she'd been running. Her connections turned out to be a lawyer who dropped her the second the plea deal hit the news. We dissolved the old HOA the next month and replaced it with a voluntary neighborhood council. Actual votes, no fines for bird feeders, just people who actually liked living here. I used 3 years of surprise rental income to start a scholarship fund for local kids who want to study environmental law or veterans affairs. Every spring we throw a fish fry fundraiser where old-timers still tell the "Remember when Lydia tried to evict her own landlord" story like it's a local legend. Sometimes the sweetest karma isn't loud. It's quiet, patient, and comes wrapped in your own lease agreement. So here's the question that still keeps the Pines Truth Squad arguing over beers. Was Lydia Voss the real abuser of power, or was the veteran who finally read the fine print the one who got karmically served? True or false? Drop your verdict in the comments. Let's debate.